Hello and welcome to the Robo Samurai channel, and today I will be reviewing the Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy, Autobot Blaster, and Eject. And I know this figure will be coming out as well under the Legacy line that's coming up. This I picked up from Hasbro Pulse. It is also, I believe, available retail currently as of the time of this recording. So let's go on ahead and take a look at the box. Hey, it's a really, really cool looking box. There's Blaster. There's the back of it. And everything that you expect to see. So enjoy this packaging while it lasts, because we're going to be getting the Legacy version soon, which looks pretty cool. So let's take a look here. First of all, let's take a look at this. This is Eject, and it's a pretty cool little figure. It's made of mostly clear plastic, which is kind of signals a kind of a warning, like, hey, be careful with it, because a lot of the how shall we say, the clear plastic tends to crack, so you want to be careful with this. Now, what's really cool about him is that his head is on a ball joint, so you get some you can give some interesting expressions. You can't look down too much. You can look back a lot. So that's really cool. By the way, you have to forgive me. I've got a little bit of a cold this time. So, yeah. Anyway, but you can see a lot of the detail in here. It's cool looking. It really is. Now, here's it from the back. And just like the original Eject and Rewind, I should say, the tape holes become weapons plug points. So if I were to take, for example, I have done this before, if you take Blaster's blaster, let's do that. Go ahead and take that. You could technically stick it in here. Oh boy, check that out. Can I balance him with it in there? Actually, I can. It just takes some work. I've done it before. Oh yeah, so it's lots of fun. Let's see if we can get it. Can I get it? Can I get it? It's possible I've done it. There you go. Yeah, you can barely see him. But there you go. He's just looking at it going like, that's a big gun. Anyway, so yeah. This is very cool. Very, very, very nice. I'm leaving him like this. Let's go ahead and plug his gun back in. Blaster's blaster. Okay, so let's transform this guy. Actually, before we do that, let's do a little comparison. Let's straighten him out. And he does have, by the way, molded in fist detail. It's hard to see. Maybe you can see it on the camera there. There we go. I'm going to straighten him out a little bit. And here he is against Frenzy or Rumble. Take your pick. The packaging, I believe, calls him Frenzy. Okay? So let's quickly flip him into robot mode. Do a little quick comparison of these guys. And I can tell you right away that Eject is just a bit taller. Just a bit taller. It's kind of hard to see, but he is. He stands a hair taller. Now, while Rumble Frenzy, whatever you want to call him, has rotation on his head, he doesn't have that ball joint. So that's kind of a little bit regrettable. So anyway, and in case you're wondering, let's go ahead and get him into his cassette mode. Back to his cassette mode, I should say. There we go. Or rectangle mode, whatever you want to call it. Let's go back and we'll transform this guy. Now what you have to do is turn his head around, and then flip it down, just like that. And then do this, and tuck this in so that it goes here, just like that. Do the same thing with the other side. Pull it out, go like this. There's a little, it's hard to tell, but there's a little tab here. That tab kind of fits in right there. And you want to take the legs, turn them around like this, collapse them like this. And there you go. Whoops. And there's Eject in his tape mode. We'll call it tape mode. He's cool. He's got a lot of molded detail in. No tape markings, though. Kind of like this guy. Let's see here. It doesn't look like a robot folded up. I don't know. It kind of does. Let's take a look here. Of course, this is the reason why you want to put him in tape mode, is so he will fit in into Blaster's chest just fine, and he does, and he fits perfectly. You can push this entire bar, because that's all it is, and you push it in order to eject. Now, will this fit in here? Yes, it will. It'll fit just fine. Just in case you're wondering, all the cassettes are interchangeable between figures. For example, here's Earthrise Soundwave, and you can put eject right in there. And yeah, that looks a little weird, but hey, it fits, right? Something you could always do before. So, okay. So let's go ahead and put Rumble Frenzy back in here. And as long as we have them out, let's go ahead and drop eject here. And we'll straighten out these guys. Rivals to the end, and here they are. And you can see that Blaster's definitely taller. He's taller by a bit. So, yeah. Yeah, not too bad. So, let's go on ahead and take a look at his other accessory, which is his rifle. And he has that signature hole in the center here. And the cool thing about that is that it is the 5mm port. So you could stick other things in there, and it would be just great. Like, for example, you can get these blue blast effects, right? Shoop. Yeah, that doesn't quite fit. So I lied. But that does. See? Yeah, it's exploding through the side. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit on the tip of his gun there. Oh, well. So, yeah. Very cool. Very accurate to his G1 toy. Let's take a look at Blaster. Now, Blaster himself has a molded-in finger just like this. And, like I said, this whole thing pushes in. It doesn't push down. It pushes in. And that's the button to eject. It's very G1 looking. He has the ankle tilts going on here. He doesn't really have toe tilts. Just the ankle rockers. He's got these great looking speakers molded in there. You can see this. This almost looks, this is his backpack. He's got this flap here that kind of covers up there's a mount point here for a stand or something. A lot of Transformers have this. And he has more of these 5mm ports on his back here. You also have, like I said, this almost looks like a backpack, like a rocket pack. I can't prove that it isn't, but it's so cool anyway. So, let's take a look here. His head can go up, down. It's on a ball joint, so he can go backwards. Say no, yes, all that other stuff. And let's take a look at his head. Sculpt, and you'll see that it's pretty cool. It's close. Not perfect, but it looks really good. His face is silver, darker silver than his the top of his head is, so it's kind of an interesting note. The Autobot symbol looks really good. This is painted on. Paint. And any other paint on this. There's black detailing here that's been picked out in paint. But, yeah. So, with that, let's go on ahead and... Oh, yeah, by the way, he does have waist swivel. Awesome. He can do some really nice poses. He can do that. You can see other speakers here. We'll talk about those in a second. His legs can go all the way back, can go all the way out. So he's got really good, great range of motion here. And, yeah. His arms will do the 360. They'll go all the way around. And they have an elbow joint. You get about that much. And they can also do a little bit, due to transformation, they can do something like this. That's pretty cool. That's how I can get this pose looking like he's ejecting himself. By pushing his buttons. Which for a robot shouldn't be an issue, right? Anyway, so, yeah, really good articulation. Some great stuff going on here. I like this. This is cool. So let's go ahead and get him transformed. First thing we'll do is we'll flip his head all the way around. And then this panel opens up. Drop that in there and close it off. The next thing you want to do is open up, take his arms out to the side. I keep hitting eject on that. No big deal. Alright, so we're going to take his wrists and we're going to flip them up like this on both sides. Then we're going to collapse. It's like a folding collapse motion here. Okay? They're going to go like this. And like this. Okay? So that kind of preps the arms. We're not quite done with them yet, though. Alright, so we're going to turn this around. And we're going to lift the skirt up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here, open that up, and then flip this panel out. And then we're going to take this and turn it in this direction, okay? Oh, by all means, flip up the toes. Do the same thing here. Flip up the toes. And then you've got that set right there. Let's do the same thing on this side. We're going to turn it. And then we're going to open up this panel here. Flip up this panel here. Now we're kind of prepared to do some folding. Now, we're going to take these and put them down here. I'm going to point out real quick. Under here, you'll see this slot right here. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. The object behind this is that we would get these tabs here into those slots there. If you do that, you'll get this down. So sometimes when I do this, I will kind of line them up, make sure they interlock properly, and then I'll pull it up. Okay, just like that. And then you want to take this, and you make sure that the wrist goes into the leg part there. So you might need to pull this panel a little bit, a little tight quarters. Sometimes this becomes undone a little, but it's okay. You can realign it. Push. There you go. Now you see what I did there? It's kind of like a full motion that goes there. And by the way, this here speaker, whoops, I did not do that right. So let me undo this. These speakers have to be flipped around according to the instructions. Now, as a note, you don't necessarily need to do this, but that's what the instructions say. If you like them to have speakers on the outside, then flip them, leave them out. Anyway, let's go back to this again. And kind of make sure that's lined up, and then make sure the wrist gets in there, and all that should line up just like that. Okay? Leave this flipped out. Not quite done with that. Do the same thing on this side. Okay, and just like that, and this. There. Now, this thing can't help but to tab itself back down into these slots right here. You'll see those two slots, two tabs. Close it down. And make sure that that's all nicely put together. And then the last part is we're going to untab these. And then we're going to join them together right here. And there is a little cutout so that you can do it a little easier. I just like to try to make a match right there. There we go. And there is Blaster in his boombox mode. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I like this. Yep, and you can eject it and put it back. And you can see what I'm talking about here. I left the other one out. And you can see it's not too offensive if you leave it out like this. So that's not too bad. This is an interesting choice to put these gray bars over the real speakers. Not sure. I could have dealt without that, but oh well. It's not too bad. I think maybe I'm used to not seeing so many details picked out in the black paint. At least in the red parts here. These are great. I love these. Those are painted as well. Are they painted? They are painted. So, like I said, I think keeping the speakers flipped out is not a bad choice, actually. You can have it like this so that they're not showing speakers at all, but hey, it's a boombox. More speakers the merrier, right? Okay, so you can store his weapon. Now, you could probably do that. It looks like an antenna, if you know what an antenna is. Haha. Or you can just take it and you can take a look at his handle right here, and there's a slot in there, And you can just add it to this peg right here, and it'll stay there nice and securely. So there's that right there. And if I were to show you guys real quick what Soundwave looks like, let's get him transformed. And you can see it appears to be a lot of similar things. You know, like this part flipping back. But there's a lot of things that are different about this. So, is it a remold? A heavy retooling? Yeah, possibly. I have to figure out what the definition of that really means. But, yeah. A lot of these are different, though, you know, when it comes to Soundwave, Earthrise Soundwave, that is. So, it's very, you know, like maybe some of the joints, but everything has to be remolded so it fits this mold here. So, interesting point, really. Let's see here. These go here, I believe. Oh yeah, that's right. It's been a while since I transformed this thing. So, come along with me and watch as I stumble along and transform this back into its dipstick tape deck mode. Is that what Braun called it in that one episode? By the way, if you haven't seen any of the G1 episodes, they are on YouTube from Hasbro Pulse. So, yeah. Sometimes I just let it run. Okay. Anyway, so we got that. Okay. All this just to show you what the comparison looks like. Because I didn't want to do a cut and show you otherwise. So there they are. Not too bad. Really not too bad. So, yeah, there you go. And I think that this is a pretty decent figure. I like it. The one thing that I didn't do was to show you the comparisons, but I think that I think he's a pretty strong figure. He's well built. All of his joints are really, really tight. So I kind of dig that. And I think it's overall a pretty good job. I think that when I transform him like this, though, I'm just going to leave the speakers out. I don't see the reason why you wouldn't. So anyway, if that's what you like, you can do that. And, you know, it's all up to you. Because you're the one who is going to display it. So if you want to be a stickler for the instructions, oops, this is backwards. Because you got to rotate this around. Come back down here, flip out Blaster's head, and there we go. I'm going to leave his gun right there. We undo this, open that out for a little bit of a change up. There we go. Oh, one more thing. Sometimes I use this weapon to open up his legs, or his toes there. So, let's fix his arm. It doesn't look great like that. There we go. So, yeah. Yeah, the only other comparison point I would really have is with Earthrise Prime. And there they are. Kind of standing head to head. He's a touch taller, so I think he's a touch taller. So, there you go. So, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to watch more of my Transformers reviews or any of my model builds, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. It doesn't cost you anything, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for joining me, and we'll talk to you next time.